Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
You know, the big thing I just try to tell the guys is, hey, let's just relax, take a deep breath, let's compete, let's have some fun. I thought we were a little bit tight.
I'm awfully proud of our team and our players, and you know, we won 40 games in the regular season in this league. You ask every coach if what type of accomplishment that is.
Hi again, everyone. Welcome. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Friday night. Phil Kornbluth from downtown Columbia, K-Mac in the Pro with the early start to the weekend. Carson Mason here taking your phone calls with us here on Sports Talk. 800-956-7266, the number. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com, on Twitter at sportstalksc. Hope you've had a great day. The weather, of course, causing a lot of problems around the state with some state championship games, with some college baseball games. We'll update you on all that. USC Clemson back in action tonight after really good wins last night. All of that overshadowed by the news a little while ago coming out of USC that quarterback Connor Mitch will not return to the program for this season. The junior has decided to transfer after he graduates this summer. Will Muschamp made the announcement this afternoon. So we'll talk about that coming up. So that removes 1/5 of the competition. Now it's 4 guys who will be competing for the quarterback's job in August. Perry Orth, who's got the most experience. Lorenzo Nunez, who's got some experience. Brandon McElwain, who has no experience. And Jake Bentley, who has no experience. So that is what the Gamecocks have to deal with. And, you hate to lose Mitch from the standpoint of A, competition, and B, experience. But if he felt like, and he must have, if he felt like he was being passed over and would not be able to surpass the other quarterbacks, and he wants to play somewhere, then best move for him to transfer to another program, and we'll see where he ends up. If he ends up in a Power 5 conference, or if he drops down a division so we can play right away. It's too bad. Another one of those. What was he? A 4-star guy that you folks like to you recruiting nut jobs out there like to hang on those stars. Well, there you go. How'd that work out for you? Just didn't happen for South Carolina and Connor Mitch for whatever reason. He had all the great high school credentials, not the stars. I don't care about that. I'm talking about the offers. He had big-time offers. So I guess, too, you can't blame the recruiting evaluators for getting it wrong. The college recruiters got it wrong as well because he had a bunch of big-time offers, could have gone a lot of different places, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason at South Carolina. And, if Steve Spurrier can't develop you as a quarterback, really, who can? He had the best quarterback developer in the country to work with for, 2 of his years at South Carolina. All right, we'll be right back.
Even though what we do is wrong.
If you'd like to comment on the news today about Connor Mitch, feel free to join in. 800-956-7266. Why did it not work? Why did it not work for Connor Mitch at South Carolina? 800-956-7266. I think I said he was here for, well, if he's leaving as a redshirt junior. So he was here for 3 years with Spurrier, right? Yeah, 3 years with Spurrier, and then the new crew came in. 800-956-7266, the number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @sportstalksc. Website is sportstalksc.com. Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. By the way, if you have not had a chance to jump in on the voting on our poll question of the week, we'd love to hear from you. How many points per game will Clemson average this football season? And thus far, it's been pretty much spread out among the various categories. Most people, 27, almost 28%, say 40 points or more, which makes sense considering the Tigers averaged 38 points a game last year and figured to be better on offense. 25.5% say between 35 and 40. 24% say between 30 and 35, and 22% say between 20 and 30. So a pretty level split there as you go from the most to the least. This Clemson offense should be a machine this coming season. But now back to South Carolina with Connor Mitch departing. As I said, one of the 5 folks expected to compete. You wonder how long this has been brewing, because throughout his Spurs Up tour stops up to this point, Will Muschamp has been including Connor Mitch in the conversation, never left him out. In fact, when Connor Mitch hasn't been brought up, he's mentioned Connor Mitch. So I wonder if this is something that has come up here of late, and Mitch went to Muschamp and said, hey, I've made a decision. I want to graduate and go somewhere else. I forgot. I guess as a graduate, he can play right away on the D1 level. So he wouldn't have to sit out a year as a graduate student if he finds the place that has, you're supposed to go someplace that offers you a course of study in graduate studies that you can't get at your other place. That's how the rule was written originally. I'm not sure if that's being followed to the letter of the law there, but I'm sure they come up with the majors in their heads that work so they can play right away. So we'll see if he lands somewhere that needs a quarterback and gets a full chance there. I really believe that when it's all said and done for USC football, you're going to see one of the freshmen. I mean, they're just, as far as quarterbacks go, McElwain and Bentley are just I know they haven't played in college yet. We're just relying on their high school credentials, but they certainly appear to be more talented than the 2 older quarterbacks. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to see that. But we'll see. Sometimes other things make up for it. Guile, decision-making, leadership, all that kind of stuff comes into play when trying to pick that starting quarterback. All right, what else do we have for you? The baseball, of course, good start for USC and Clemson in their series last night. Tigers beat Notre Dame in 11 on a home run by Williams. USC blew an early lead, got tied up by Alabama, then got a 2-run base hit by Mooney in the 6th, got some terrific relief pitching. They went on to win 6-4, and now Clemson has jumped out to a 2-0 lead on Notre Dame in the top of the first inning up at South Bend. Beer gets an RBI on a ground out to short, and Oki gets an RBI on a ground out to short. So Tigers got runners on, and they got them home. Remember, yesterday they were leaving runners on early on. Not tonight. They get them on, they get them home. 2-0 Clemson. And pitching tonight for the Tigers is Clayton Schmidt. He's going to the mound as we speak. South Carolina and Alabama, a little bit after 8 o'clock tonight, will play game 2 of their series. John Whittle from the Big Spur is there, and we will catch up with him in our second hour of the program at 7:10 to get a scene setter from him. USC now with 40 wins and 18 wins in SEC play. A win tonight will not clinch a top 4 finish for them because they could still be passed by LSU. LSU got rained out last night, and they still have 3 to play with Florida. And if they were to sweep, they would get to 20 wins. The Gamecocks are sitting on 18 wins right now. So it's not a lock for them yet. But they're in very good shape if they can just take care of their own business. They control their own destiny from that standpoint. With their win last night, the Tigers clinched a spot in the ACC tournament. Now they're just trying to stay in the top 6 so they can avoid the play-in games on Tuesday. And right now, the Tigers at 14-14 in league play, and they're still sitting there in 6th. They are behind Louisville, Florida State, NC State, Miami, and Virginia. Then it's Clemson, a half game. No, I take that back. The Tigers at 14-14. Wake Forest has 13 wins, and Georgia Tech has 13 wins, and Duke has 13 wins. So, again, they control their own fate from that standpoint. Win their games, win these last 2 against Notre Dame, and they won't have to worry about it. Now, there was some baseball action this afternoon. We'll tell you about that. I want to tell you a couple of other things first. The NCAA Women's Golf Championships began today in Oregon. South Carolina, not a bad start for the team. 5 over, 293. Right now has the Gamecocks in a tie for 10th with Georgia, Virginia, and Ohio State, trailing Washington by 9 shots. Washington's at -4, but is early in its round. Stanford is -3, but early in its round. Oklahoma State's -2 early in its round. So those teams are just getting going. South Carolina played this morning, turned in a 5 over par 293 score. A great day for the standout player for USC, Caitlin Dambaugh, a 3 under 69 for her today. She's going to join us 6:45 from Oregon to talk about her day. 3 under 69. Also for USC, Sarah Schmetzel, 3 over 75. Marion Vasiri, 6 over 78. Noah Olara, 1 over 73. E.C. Nilsson, 4 over 76. Now, Furman is also in the tournament. Furman is tied for 21st at +10, 298. Going back to Dambaugh, she is currently tied for 2nd in the individual championship. Actually now tied for 3rd. Her 3 under 69 has her a shot. There's a 2-way tie for the lead, and so she is tied for 3rd after her 3 under 69. So a terrific start for her. From Furman, Haley Harford, a 1 under 71 for her, has her up on the leaderboard as well. And Clemson has a player playing for the individual championship, Stevenson. Checking to see if her score has popped up here. And I don't see it just yet. So we'll keep an eye out for that and pass that along if it pops up. By the way, this is interesting. I guess because of their religious convictions, BYU actually played its 3rd round yesterday. Yeah, BYU got out yesterday and played its 3rd round. So today's the 1st round. So 3rd round would be on Sunday. BYU, I guess, can't play on Sunday. So they had to play their 3rd round yesterday, their 1st round today, and they'll play their 2nd round tomorrow. But it goes in the books. The round yesterday goes in the books as their 3rd round. Okay, we'll be back, update you on some baseball and some other things here on Sports Talk in just a moment. Yeah, Lauren Stevenson, the Clemson golfer, she shot 75 today. So that has her in the books for the first round. Let's see. State championship games on the docket tonight for baseball and softball in some classifications. As far as we know, right now, things are on. It's wet in various places around the state where these are going to be played, but I'm seeing some tweets coming from reporters at various sites, and so far, everything seems to be moving forward. Strom Thurmond and Ainer, they're playing at Riley Park in Sumter, 2A baseball. That seems to still be on at this point. Latta and what's that little town? Oh, McBee. Latta and McBee. Easy to forget the Rick Henrys. Playing at Lakewood. Looks wet. The tweet from the Florence Morning News, which is there, but it's still on for 7 o'clock. So we'll keep an eye on these things as the games unfold. Again, there's baseball. Let's see, we've got championship games in baseball tonight in 1A and in 2A and 4A. Over in Lexington is the 4A. The 3A folks get underway tomorrow with their championship series. And then in softball, 1A has been determined. Dixie won that. We have 2A tonight, Buford and Dillon. We have 3A and 4A in softball as well being determined tonight, as long as the weather holds up. All right, so we'll keep an eye on the tweets as they come rolling down. Notre Dame, Clemson, 2-0, top of the second. Tigers leading there. Other college baseball today was quite a bit of afternoon action as they were trying to get some games in, make up for some washouts last night. Let's tell you what's happening so far in the ACC. Duke and Pittsburgh scoreless, just underway. Louisville beat Wake Forest 9-2. Okay. Virginia came from behind late to beat Virginia Tech. I think one point Virginia Tech was up, I want to say 5-1, 6-1 late. Virginia rallies to win that 7-6. Big win for Virginia, which is trying to make sure it gets it might even get a national seeded the way it's going right now, the way it's been playing of late. Miami and Florida State has been postponed already in Tallahassee. They'll try to make that up tomorrow. Also, Boston College and Georgia Tech postponed till tomorrow. In the SEC, of course, USC, Alabama coming up later on tonight. As far as games this afternoon, Kentucky beat Missouri 2-1. Top of the ninth, Tennessee's leading Georgia 5-4. Everything else right now appears to be on around the SEC. No word of any rainouts at this point. Florida and LSU, they were rained out last night. They'll play 1 tonight and play 2 tomorrow. All right. The Atlantic Sun, we've got, rained out tonight, Jacksonville and Upstate. That's already been rained out tonight. Big South, Presbyterian beat Charleston Southern 3-1. Campbell with the early 1-0 lead on Coastal Carolina. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Friday, heading into a great sports weekend, weather permitting. Let me finish with the baseball scoreboard. As we were hitting the break, Campbell leading Coastal Carolina 1-0. Coastal won last night. Chanticleer's just running away with things in the Big South, 19-3 in the Big South, 38-15 overall. And, boy, they continue to win, make a strong argument for hosting a regional in a couple of weeks. Winthrop and Gardner-Webb postponed tonight because of the weather. They'll play that game, make it up tomorrow. East Tennessee beat the Citadel 10-9. Wofford and Furman rained out tonight. They'll make that game up tomorrow. Okay, so you're up to date on that. Clemson and Notre Dame, still 2-0 Tigers as we go to the top of the third in South Bend. 2 runs for the Tigers in the first, holding up thus far. Let's bring in our mom segment. Morgan on the move. Mike Morgan with us tonight from ESPN as he is headed down to, where are you? Starkville, Mississippi this weekend?
I am. Flew into the Golden Triangle.
Yeah.
And made the short drive from Columbus, Mississippi to Starkville, Mississippi.
Well, there's a big-time linebacker at Starkville High School named Willie Gay who has USC in his top 5. So how about check on him for us?
Oh, I'll go ahead and head on over there, talk to some of the assistant coaches, and when I come back, I'll have a full report. I think he's already narrowed it down to North Carolina, South Carolina, East Carolina, Coastal Carolina, South Carolina State, Western Carolina. That's what I know so far.
Yeah, okay. That's good. When's the last time you made a recruiting call?
Oh, gosh. A long time, and I don't miss it whatsoever. I'm glad it's in good hands with yourself.
You know, it's so sad. You young whippersnappers in broadcasting, you just don't know what you're missing. All right, let's get to the business at hand. SEC baseball, things are really tight as we head down the stretch. Anything could happen here over the next couple of days in terms of shuffling in the standings. What about that Gamecock win last night? What did that tell you? You know, they had the lead, they lost the lead, they got the 2-run hit. Their relief pitching was very good, and they get a very big win for them at Alabama. What did that tell you about this USC team? 40 wins and 18 in the league.
Oh, it kind of reaffirmed a lot of things I already know about both those teams, having seen them both in person. I think, number one, Carolina is a better team because they're more balanced. The magic number is 5 in terms of that series the rest of the way. If the game backs 4 or 5 runs, Alabama just doesn't have the offense to generate, particularly against good pitching. It's kind of a shame if you're an Alabama fan because they've got good pitching. You're almost wasting it, but their offense can be anemic at times. The fact they even got 4 last night was a little bit of a surprise to me. But anytime you win in Tuscaloosa, you know, they've got a new ballpark or at least a refurbished one. They are a postseason team in all likelihood. So if you can pick up 2 out of 3 or even a sweep, obviously that's a good road trip for South Carolina or anybody this year to go into Tuscaloosa and win a series. Not easy. But again, Alabama can't match the offense. And when I look at the SEC top to bottom, you know, they're about a handful of teams that are so far ahead of the rest because they have the balance. They have the dominating pitching plus an offense that can put runs on the board. And that sounds like a simple equation, but there's very few teams in college baseball that really have both. The Gamecocks are one. Obviously, Florida and Texas A&M provide money the 2 most talented teams just in terms of pure talent, prospects, etc. And then you've got some other squads that are just kind of lingering in both divisions. I mean, you can't count out Vanderbilt because they have the pitching, and they do have 2 terrific hitters at the top of that lineup. But this is not, to me, the Vanderbilt type of team that we've seen the last 2 years that can win it all. I don't see that this year out of Tim Corbin and company.
Do you think South Carolina is set up to make a deep run in Hoover next week?
Yeah, you know, you and I have covered that event a number of times. I know it's been a painful moment for Gamecock fans. I was fortunate enough to be behind the mic in 2004 when that team won the only SEC tournament championship. And the key was, I know the format has changed, but the key was similar to what it is now, in that you do have to win early in order to stay alive late. If you lose, if you drop that first game, you're so far behind the eight ball. No matter what the format has been. The 04 team won the first two games, got Friday off, then won Saturday. They beat Vanderbilt on Sunday. It taxes your pitching so much that while it would be nice to win it and you want to go deep and you want to solidify a national seed, which I'd be shocked if Carolina does not get it, by the same token, you got to keep your eye on the prize, and the prize is what comes right after that, and that's regionals and super regionals. So for me, conference tournaments are all about, if you're on the bubble for anything, whether it's getting in or not getting in, hosting a regional or not, or getting one of those coveted 8 national seeds or not, that's what you want to do to kind of make one final statement. Outside of that, I don't know if making it, to the semifinals of the championship game in the long run does you a whole lot of good.
Talking with Mike Morgan. Morgan on the move down in Starkville, Mississippi tonight. What about the ACC? Baseball America right now, their projections, 10 ACC teams to make the tournament. Clemson doing a nice job winning some series here late, and they're about to they can go ahead and win this game tonight at Notre Dame, win that series. So, and you're going to be at the ACC tournament next week. So that's going to be a wild and crazy affair too.
It really is. I'm looking forward to calling the championship game next Sunday on ESPN2. I think the ACC has been overshadowed this year, as it normally is, by the SEC. But this is maybe top to bottom the best year the ACC's ever had. I mean, when you look at the depth of this conference, as you mentioned, I think 10 is a realistic number, and that's the most any conference has ever had in the NCAA tournament. When they expanded recently to 14 teams, and you add a program like a Notre Dame, and Louisville's just been a juggernaut really the last 5 years or so. That made that conference so deep. And of course, now they finally have the monkey off the back by winning a national title last year, the first one since the 1950s. So I think that's going to be a really entertaining event down in Durham, because I think there truly are, and I hate this cliche, I don't believe anybody can win it, either in the SEC or the ACC. I don't buy into that. But I do believe in both of those conferences, there are a good 4 to 5 teams that truly have enough pitching and enough balance to actually win it. And that's more than normal, because usually you can narrow it down to about 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah. Clemson, Monty Lee, you got to give him a lot of credit for holding things together. They went through a little bit of a rough spot there mid-season, losing some series, but then they bounced back. They beat NC State head-to-head. They beat Florida State head-to-head. Went down to Statesboro, beat an always tough Georgia Southern team head-to-head, and probably going to win this series at Notre Dame. It may even sweep it. So they'll carry some momentum into tournament play.
Well, no doubt. And you follow recruiting more than I do. I mean, how do you get Seth Beer to turn down the money and come to college? That kid is so far ahead of what a freshman should be at the collegiate level. I look forward to seeing him in person, because he's one of those once-in-a-lifetime recruits that you just don't get very often. Such a tremendous talent. Of course, with the college rules, which you have to love compared to basketball, you get to keep him for 3 years. I mean, it's scary to think how good that kid will be in a couple of years. But I've known Monty Lee since he became the assistant coach at South Carolina. Not surprised at all that he would already make some noise in year number 1. And obviously, when you take over a job, it's not because the program was at a high point. It's typically at a point where it's dragging a little bit. So he had his work cut out for him, but he's done a fine job in year 1. See if he can make any noise out there in Durham, and then continue that momentum into regional play.
Okay, Mike, what channel are you on tomorrow?
SEC Network tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, Mississippi State playing host to Arkansas. Down year for the Razorbacks. Mississippi State, top 5 team looking to get a national seed.
Very good, my friend. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike Morgan on the move. Mike on the move here on Sports Talk. Be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblut here in Columbia. Clemson in the fourth, still up on Notre Dame, 2-0. In softball today, in the opening games of their regionals, USC women defeated South Florida 2-0. And also this afternoon, the USC Upstate women defeated Oregon State 5-3. They're playing at Auburn. And USC's playing at Florida State. Now, the USC women's golf team, as we mentioned earlier, hanging in there as the play continues in round one of the NCAA championships at the Eugene Country Club in Eugene, Oregon. Let's see. The Gamecocks right now 10th at 5 over par, 8 shots back of Oklahoma State. And they got a terrific performance today from their leader, their standout, Caitlin Dambaugh, 3 under 69 for Caitlin, and she joins us now from Eugene, Oregon, to fill us in. In fact, she's moved up into a tie for second at this particular time. Caitlin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're great. We're great. Thank you for joining us. What's it like as you sit back and kind of watch your name move up and down the leaderboard here as more scores come in?
I mean, it's good. I mean, I haven't really been paying that much of attention because there's so much golf left, and there's nothing really I can do about the people out playing now. I can just play my game, but right now I'm just relaxing and just hanging out and getting ready for tomorrow. Yeah,
a great round today, 3 under 69. Tell us about your day and what went well for you out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was nice and cool out here. We got off early, which was good. We didn't have to wait. We got out ahead of everybody, but this golf course is very difficult. It's really challenging. It has a lot of challenging holes and difficult shots that you have to hit. But I mean, it went pretty well today. I just tried my best to keep hitting it in the fairway, and that's what you have to do out here. If you miss the fairway, then it's pretty difficult to make birdie or even par in that matter. But I just kept doing what I've been doing all semester, just focusing on the shot that I had and just being patient and letting the results take care of themselves.
Yeah, when you're playing in the NCAA championships, and looks like you started on number 10 this morning, and you got out of the gate with a birdie. So that's getting off with a birdie and kind of gives you that positive feeling. How important is it for you to do that?
I mean, it was great. I mean, it makes me feel a lot better, obviously, doing that because, it gives you a little momentum at the very beginning, which is what you want. But once it happens, then I'm just in the mindset of, okay, put the gas pedal down and just keep going. Yeah. So I think it's really good to start out with a birdie. It boosts your confidence up there a little bit.
Now you got the 3 under, and then you bogeyed 18, then you bogeyed 1. So what were you thinking there? Back-to-back bogeys? Were you a little shaky at that point? How were you feeling?
I mean, I was really shaky. I hit a really good tee shot on our ninth hole, which was 18. I hit a good tee shot, but like I said, the fairways here are really narrow. I think I missed the fairway by 2 yards, and the rough out here is really, really deep, and you can be behind these huge pine trees and you won't have a shot. So I just had to punch out. It was just, just bad luck with the lie. But the next bogey I had, that was kind of like unnecessary bogey. I was a little frustrated, but I was able to regroup and then end up birdieing the next hole. Yeah, all bogeys are unnecessary in my opinion. Exactly.
I think they should just be eliminated from the game. Yeah, you're right. You bounced back, you birdied 2, and then you finished up. Hey, you finished up with a birdie at the last. So you open with a birdie, you finish with a birdie. That's a nice way to do it. Yeah.
That's right.
So how do you like where you guys are as a team at this point? I think tied for 10th last time I looked. So that's not a bad place to start as you look ahead to tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we're in a really great place, with 2 freshmen in the lineup, and I know Olara, this is her first national championship. So with 3 people being here for the first time, I mean, I think this is a really good place for us because now that they got their first national championship round under their belt, I think we have the ability to go low, and I think we can do some really good things and move up the leaderboard within the next few days.
You guys go off in the afternoon tomorrow?
Yeah, we do. We started, I think 12 is our first time tomorrow, which is really good, which is 4 back in Columbia.
Did you notice?
Or 3 back in Columbia.
Did you notice if the conditions changed much in the afternoon compared to the morning?
Not too much. Out here, I mean, it was really chilly this morning. I think it was like 48 when we teed off, 48 degrees. But it wasn't too much. I mean, the overcast, it's going to be cloudy no matter what day it is. But, I mean, the conditions didn't really change too much throughout the day.
Well, we wish you the best of luck over the weekend, and hopefully we'll talk with you guys next week about more golf moving forward. And congratulations on your round today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. All
Oh,
right.
no problem.
Thank you. Caitlin Dambaugh from USC, 3 under, 69. Puts her right now in a tie for second individually, and her team's in a tie for 10th. Recruiting coming up in a moment. Okay, let's give you the recruiting knowledge here on a Friday night, so you'll be smarter than the person next to you when you talk recruiting over the weekend, as you no doubt will. Wren quarterback Jay Urich, for the first time, has stated a timetable for a commitment. Decision date is not far off. He said to us that he'll make a decision in June and then take some visits before then. Up to now, he's been non-committal about when he'll make a commitment. It was always just when it felt right, but now he's saying that it will happen in June. USC, Georgia Southern, Duke, Appalachian State, Tennessee have been through his school this spring. He was just offered by Appalachian Thursday morning. USC remains the most notable offer on the list. The Gamecocks continue to give him positive vibes. He says they come down and they really like me, he says, and he likes them as well. Other offers are Coastal, Gardner-Webb, Furman, Eastern Kentucky, Harvard, Jacksonville State, Mercer, Jackson State, SC State, North Dakota State, Southern Miss, Wofford, and East Tennessee State. Running back DeAndre Swift of Philadelphia has a top 10. Clemson, USC, Penn State, Maryland, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, and Miami. And he said that remains unchanged. The Tigers and Gamecocks are keeping in communications with him, but the Tigers seem to be making the stronger push. Says he has a good relationship with Tony Elliott, and he says they talk on a daily basis about things on and off the field. And he talks about him getting back down to see Clemson once again. He previously visited in March and got a look at the Tigers in practice mode. And so he liked the up-tempo the offense plays with. It's what he's used to at his high school. He likes the fast pace. Elliott has been through the school once and was supposed to be back there today. Bobby Bentley's recruiting Swift for USC, and he's also keeping in touch with him. And he says he has a pretty good relationship with Bentley. And he said he's very interested in him, and he wants him to be a Gamecock. He's also friendly with USC running back Dave Williams, and he keeps in touch with him. He said right now Georgia, Penn State, Clemson, Alabama, and Florida State are the schools recruiting him the hardest. He hopes to visit Florida State and Alabama this summer. He also wants to get back to Clemson, and he could make a decision this summer. If not, he'll make one in January. USC last night offered defensive back Amir Speed of Jacksonville. So they should sign him and Swift. They'll have Swift and Speed on their team. Clemson offered 2018 offensive lineman Jackson Carman of Fairfield, Ohio, 6'6", 295. Clemson also checked on 2018 offensive lineman Blaine Scott, 6'5", 300, Portsmouth, Ohio. Defensive back Caleb Farley, made in North Carolina, visited USC yesterday. He's a Virginia Tech commitment. Linebacker Willie Gay of Starkville, Mississippi. Mike Morgan's on the scene. USC's in his top 5 with Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Michigan, and LSU. That's the kind of company you want to keep in recruiting. The key is, can you beat that kind of company in recruiting? That's what makes a difference. Top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Friday night. Thank you for joining us wherever you happen to be dialed in around the state on this overcast, wet evening. Glad that you are with us, taking us into the weekend. Hopefully things will clear up. Things in the sports world can take place as scheduled. Everything today at Charlotte rained out. Practice, qualifying for some of the all-star stuff, the stuff tonight. They're going to have a truck race tonight. They're going to have one of the preliminary all-star race events tonight. All that rained out because of rain. That's what happens when you get rained out. It's usually because of rain. So we'll see how they try and make that up over the weekend if they can. Let's go to BJ in Lexington joining us here on Sports Talk. By the way, Clemson still up 2-0, bottom of the fifth in South Bend. BJ, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good to have you with us.
Well, thank you guys.
And you are calling about the Big South tournament next week in Lexington, I understand.
That is correct. Yeah, we're hosting the Big South Baseball Championships over at the Lexington County Baseball Stadium starting on Tuesday morning. So we're just kind of getting the word out and promoting it, and wanting to invite everybody out to see some good baseball next week.
Yeah, that thing's coming up on us quickly, and looking forward to seeing, in particular, Coastal Carolina's having a great year. I'm not sure anybody can touch them in the tournament.
Yeah, they're definitely taking care of business this year. They're nationally ranked, so it should be fun to watch. See if they can take care of business next week and get the automatic qualifier. But I would say even if they don't, I would imagine that they're going to make it into the NCAA tournament. Maybe even if they'd win it next week, maybe even host a regional.
Sure,
So,
I would think so. Real quick, what's the feeling around the town about having this event?
we're really excited about it. This has been about a 2-year process for us. We started talking with the Big South about a week after we broke ground on the stadium about making this come true. So about 2 years now we've been working on it. So it's hard to believe that we're 4 days away, but we are. So we're excited. The town's excited. The entire community is supporting it. We have a lot of local kids playing on the teams that are coming to town next week. So we're very excited about it.
That sounds good. Look forward to being out there and seeing some of the action when we get back from the SEC tournament, if we make it back in time. Thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, and we'll be talking more about that next week. But if you didn't know or you forgot, yes, the Big South tournament is going to be at the relatively brand new Lexington Baseball Park, where the Blowfish play. So you can get out there and watch some very good baseball. We'll be right back. John Whittles in Alabama. Okay, let's update some things. Clemson continues to lead the way at Notre Dame. Now it's 3-0. The Tigers with an RBI from Okie. So it's 3-0. Clemson top of the sixth. And, I did this last night. And as soon as I did it, of course, the jinx kicked in. But it's my responsibility to report the absolute facts about what's happening in any particular ball game, okay? And we can't let silly baseball jinxes and curses get in our way, can we? So what I am saying is, I'm just double-checking here, yes. Through 5 innings, Clayton Schmidt is perfect for Clemson. Yep, I know. I said the same thing about Charlie Barnes about this time, maybe a little earlier last night, and then the next thing you know, Notre Dame got a run and some hits. But fact is, Clayton Schmidt is perfect at this point for Clemson through 5 innings. Let's go to John Whittle, who's in Alabama awaiting USC in Alabama in Tuscaloosa. You don't believe in that silly jinx stuff, do you?
Phil, most people think of me as a baseball guy, right?
Correct.
I don't believe in jinxes or superstitions or anything like that.
So you have no problem with me mentioning it at this particular time?
None at all.
Yeah.
None at all.
And if you were sitting next to Schmidt in the dugout, you'd be telling him all about it. You'd say, "Hey, Clay, do you know you got a perfect game going right now?"
Well, I respect the people who do believe in superstitions. I wouldn't go pat him on the shoulder and mention it. No, but I certainly wouldn't have a problem talking about it with anybody else.
Yeah. All right. Well, set us up for tonight. First of all, how's your weather looking?
So far, so good. I'm standing out on the concourse of Sewell Thomas Stadium right now, freshly renovated and now one of the nicest in the SEC, and I'm not getting wet. So far, so good.
That's a good thing. Now, how tall is that wall behind in foul territory there behind home plate? Watching on television last night from the center field camera, that's all you see is the wall behind the catcher and the umpire.
Yeah, I think that wall's about 8 feet, and then the wall out from left field all the way to right center, that chain link fence, that's about 15 feet. That's a pretty high wall out there too.
Yeah. Is the stadium beautiful? What they've done?
Beautiful,
yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. The only stadium I thought was worse in the SEC than this place a few years ago was Kentucky, and now this is top at least half, probably 5 or 6.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the win last night, 6-4. What'd you think about the way the Gamecocks got off to the good start, lost their lead, and then went ahead and then got some very good relief pitching down the stretch?
Well, I thought South Carolina missed on some opportunities early to break the game open a little bit more than it was. 4-0 lead with Clark Schmidt on the mound. He still feels good, but it could have easily been 6 or 7 or 8. And then, Clark didn't have his best stuff last night for really one of the first times this season. And, I think it says a lot about the way the team fought back after blowing the lead and Clark coming out early to respond right back with Mooney's 2-out RBI single in the top of the 6th. I thought it showed a little bit of character, and then Reed coming in and throwing the way he did, and Tyler Johnson closing the door as well.
Yeah, and so they didn't have to use Reagan last night, so he's fully rested. And I think Johnson threw, 29 pitches? Think they could use him any tonight?
Yeah, I think they could use him in a short stint tonight. Ideally, they'd like to just go Braden to Josh and have that be it. But, if they need Tyler for a couple outs, I feel sure that he could come out. And honestly, Reed could probably throw again. Reed's a guy who bounces back really quickly, and he didn't throw a whole heck of a lot of pitches. You might have it in front of you. I think about 40, but he can pitch. With his arm angle, he can pitch pretty much all the time.
Yeah, 42 is what he threw last night. The lineup tonight, pretty much the same as last night. Madison Stokes had 3 hits. I imagine he stays at first base. Have you had a chance to see the lineup?
You know, it hadn't come out before you got me on the phone, so I haven't seen it yet. But I was told it's going to look similar to last night, so I wouldn't change much after what happened. I don't know if you've seen the lineup yet, but you know, Stokes obviously had a good night. Really, I thought the best game of the season for him, both offensively and defensively. Made some nice plays at first base, picked a couple of throws out of the dirt. You know, looked a lot better last night than he did on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think they made this move? Tolbert had been playing most of the way at first base. Now here late, they moved Stokes over there. What is Holbrook and the coaching staff seeing there to make that move?
Well, LT's done some good things this year, both offensively and defensively. He's walked some and kept his strikeouts down, but at the end of the day, he hasn't been producing offensively. You know, they felt like they could get a little bit. They felt like they could get a little bit better offensively, and you know, LT hasn't really moved too well left or right. His range hasn't been very good over there at first, so you know, it was a situation where you know they could experiment over there, and they're trying to figure out a way to play some good defense, play the best defense they can in the middle. So putting DC back in there at second base and still keeping Madison's bat in there, you know, that was a pretty good option for him.
All right, poor John Jones. You know, everybody. You can't blame him for everything bad that happens to the Gamecocks. It's sort of like people want to, though. He did go 0 for last night, and I don't know. You haven't seen the lineup. I haven't either. Do you think they stick with him, or is it time? Is Hopkins able with his knee to go in and maybe DH?
But TJ is able to play, and he can play in the outfield as well. I was able to watch him Wednesday night in practice, and you know, he was swinging the bat well in BP and was running around pretty well out there in the outfield too. So, you know, he's ready to go whenever they need him in whatever capacity. You know, with Jones, Chad just feels like for them to be a formidable offense that they have to get him going. There's nobody on the bench that can be like him. And, you know, they need some punch in the middle of the order. They've tried different things. They've tried moving him down in the lineup last night. They've given him a day off here and there. They're trying everything they can to get him going, and I don't see him giving up on him just yet.
Yeah. John, you've seen him almost every game this year. What's the difference in Jones now compared to the first third of the season?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, it's mental, it's physical, it's everything right now with him. He's pulling off pitches and, you know, trying to hit everything 500 feet down the line. You know, when he was going well early, he was using the entire field and, you know, hitting line drives. And, you know, now everything's a little pop-up the other way and, you know, or strikeouts.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think I've seen anybody, you know, start out a season so well and fall so far so fast. It's kind of hard to watch and you feel for the kid because he's, you know, watching him in BP Wednesday night, it's like, man, this guy's taking some good swings. And then the next day when, you know, the lights are on, you know, he punches out a couple of times and, you know, just doesn't look like he's got much going on over there.
Yeah. I'm sure confidence is a big thing with him right now. And he just doesn't have it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that certainly plays a part in it. And, you know, it's confidence and there's plenty of mechanical things going on too. And you add those two things together and, you know, you get the kind of batting average he's had for the last, really ever since the calendar turned to April.
Okay, my friend, enjoy your game tonight. We remind everybody that coverage of USC's baseball series at Alabama is on thebigspur.com. John does a phenomenal job. He'll have his story and post-game interviews. You don't mind me telling people to go to your website and look at it, do you?
No, I would love for you to do that. I appreciate you doing that.
Well, you do a great job, and we thank you for sharing your insight with us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, Phil. Thank you for having me.
You got it, man. John Whittle, who knows as much about Gamecock baseball as practically anybody on the staff because he follows them year-round every day, and we appreciate him being with us in Alabama. Braden Webb, the freshman, will start for USC 9-4, 3.48. Jake Walters will start for Alabama 5-3, 2.03 ERA for him. Okay, 3-0 Clemson Tigers still batting in the sixth. They have the bases loaded, 2 outs. They could possibly blow this thing wide open. All right, thanks again to Big John Whittle for joining us here tonight on Sports Talk. And let's see, up at South Bend, looks like the Tigers could not capitalize on that bases-loaded situation. They've left 5. They lead at 3-0, 3-7-0 for the Tigers, and nothing for Notre Dame against Clayton Schmidt so far. 15 up, 15 down. 4 strikeouts, 5 flyouts, 6 groundouts. 57 pitches, 36 for strikes. Wow, what a performance so far. We'll see what happens moving forward. Bottom of the 6th, Notre Dame coming to the plate, trailing the Tigers 3-0. PGA Tour, they are, of course, in Texas. Spieth got off to the great start yesterday with, 64, playing on a very familiar territory for him in Texas, the AT&T Byron Nelson. See where things stand as of this afternoon. Top of the leaderboard, Ben Crane, he goes down even further, 63. He's 12 under. Brooks Koepka, 64. He's 11 under. Spieth followed his 64 with a 65, 11 under. Bud Cauley, a 65, 11 under. Man, this course must have been out for the taking today. Sergio Garcia, 66 after a 63 yesterday. He's 11 under. Wes Roach, 66. He's at 10 under. Dustin Johnson, a 68 today. He's at 8 under. Let's see, who else here? Kyle Stanley, a 66, 2 under. Bryson DeChambeau, remember him? 73, 1 under. Lucas Glover, 67, -1. Sam Saunders, a 67. Take that back. Sam Saunders is on the course at 1 under. 1 over for the day, 1 under for the tournament. Russell Henley, a 69. He's even. And Ernie Els had a 73. He's at 1 over par. And the cut line right now is projected to be at, some golfers are still on the course, but they're projecting the cut at -2. Yep, when you have those low scores at the top, that cut's going to be pretty low as well. So Right now, looks like Ernie Els will miss the cut. Henley's going to miss the cut. Saunders could miss the cut. He's got 17 and 18 to play. Glover will miss the cut if it stays where it is right now. All right, so that's what's happening out in Texas. We'll update college baseball some more as we move on through the program. Coming up after the break, the full Monty on NASCAR. As I mentioned, the rain got the better of things in Charlotte today, so Alan talked about things. He really couldn't get much done on the track. But we'll find out from Monty what he's hearing out of the garage there. News yesterday that Kevin Harvick has signed a long-term extension with Stewart-Haas Racing, and he said today he never talked to anybody, never considered anything about moving to Hendricks, that he was staying put with Stewart-Haas the entire time, and they got that deal worked out. Full Monty on NASCAR coming up. Oh, beat me with a wet noodle. I mean, no sooner than I mentioned the perfect game that Notre Dame gets 2 hits in a run. Same thing happened last night. Same thing. Let's bring on Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR, but Monty is also a long-time baseball man. And did I mess up? Should I have not mentioned the perfect game through 5 innings for Clayton Schmidt? Should I have held my tongue, Monty? You believe in that stuff?
I don't. I think that you did the right thing. I believe that the tougher call would have been had you been broadcasting the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the tough call is, I think.
Yeah, that's 2 nights in a row. Of course, it was kind of early last night. I think Barnes was perfect through 4 last night when I mentioned it, and in the next inning, Notre Dame broke through. And tonight, he was perfect through 5. Now Notre Dame has broken through and gotten a run. 3-1 Clemson. Notre Dame batting in the bottom of the 6th inning. All right, full Monty on NASCAR. Complete washout at Charlotte today. What are they going to do with all the stuff they had planned for today and tonight?
They're going to have it tomorrow night, and it's going to be rather extreme.
Yes.
Because they're going to start practicing at 9 in the morning. They're going to have qualifying for the Open and a truck race and the Open, or whatever the Open's called now.
Yeah.
And then the All-Star race tomorrow night. And if they have rain delays in that, I'm first of all, I'm glad that I'll be maybe not there, but I can see tomorrow being a long day and a long night for me in front of my trusty television set.
And the media, my goodness, it's going to be a long day for them. Now, they change this thing up every year. I can never keep up with the events nor the format because every year they're always changing something. How do you explain to us simply, what's happening with the sprint guys in terms of the various events, and then what do you think of the formats?
Well, first of all, I think that they're just groping for something that works because the All-Star race has been, sort of falling off. It hasn't had the drama, but also the crowds have been falling off. And so I think that the constant change is just sort of a measure of desperation. I do think that, from what I hear, that they mainly use the influence. A lot of one of the architects of this new format is Brad Keselowski, and some of this is stuff. A lot of what he advocated has come into play here, and it's basically going. The weakness that I would say that some people saying is that because of the fact that the way they're going to set up one of the segments, that there's going to be a mad dash to finish 12th in one of the segments so they can start first in the next one if they don't take on tires. There's a situation where you're going to have guys advance to the front if they opt not to change tires, and so then you might have guys up front for the tire wear. A lot of people seem to think that the tire wear is not going to be too extreme, so the inside word they're saying out there is that before the final segment, they're going to be, or in 2 segments, guys are going to be trying to finish 12th. But the whole thing is designed so that at the end you may have a great deal of competition because depending on whether you're running, you're going to do one of 2 ways, and what's going to result is they're going to start the final segment, and they're going to have probably a mixture of cars charging through the pack that have brand new tires, and people trying to hold on to the lead who have 2 tires or more worn tires. The idea being that inevitably is going to produce really good racing. It's also likely to produce a wreck here and there.
Yeah, which they wouldn't mind seeing either, I'm sure. But you're right. They're kind of grasping at straws here, trying to come up with something that brings the excitement, and everybody remembers, of course. You know, think back when they just go back to pure racing. You had the pass in the grass with Earnhardt. That was during the All-Star race, if I remember correctly.
That was some of the most exciting nights I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
The fact is that right now, if you start thinking about the All-Star race, the great ones, you can't even remember who won the races recently. And so you start thinking about 1992, when the wreck at the finish line between Kyle Petty and Davey Allison, and Allison went to the hospital instead of victory lane. 89, when Rusty Wallace shoved Darrell Waltrip out of the way, and Darrell Waltrip said, "I hope he chokes on that 200 grand."
Yeah.
200 grand. That was a lot of money then.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money for me now, by the way.
Yeah.
But and then you remember the 1987 one, which actually, technically speaking, the pass in the grass, it wasn't, because Earnhardt didn't actually pass. He kept Bill Elliott from passing him. But those are all great memories, and there are other ones. My favorite moment of Charlotte involved tonight that I think Jeff Bodine won the Winston, and Ernie Irvan was going to win the Winston, and I was sitting next to a sports writer who both of us know, who was about to win the press box pool.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, for no reason, Ernie Irvan, trying to win some meaningless segment, wrecked and about knocked the wall down. And so my biggest memory of the Winston are the words that sports writer said that cannot be repeated here.
Yeah.
However, I will say that there was a vile word paired very closely with the word excoriated. And I have never heard those words used in such close proximity before then.
Okay. Monty
he said he was going to excoriate
someone
in the next day's paper.
I got you. Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR, to the news. And Kevin Harvick, yesterday, they announced the extension for him. No big surprise. Apparently, any talk of him going anywhere else was just that. He had no intention of leaving his team.
Well, he may have used it for a better deal in this big deal he's got. He may have done that thing to every coach in the world, that little game they've played.
Mm-hmm.
He may have, there may be, well, this is actually hitting close personally. This is because there were a lot of people who reported with near certainty and claimed they had sources that he was going to Hendrick Motorsports, and they were dead wrong. And so it's brought up the usual thing, and one of my colleagues, Jeff Gluck, on his personal website, wrote a story about why some people in the media are a little thin-skinned about this criticism on the Harvick thing. The point he made was one that I know very well. I used to hear drivers and people, they always lump us, like they say if one person reports something, they think the damn media did it. And so he actually named and the person who is involved, who has been involved in this stuff before, and he said that he didn't know anybody else who reported that. And I used to do the same thing. I used to hear some race driver yelling at all you people don't pay attention and all that. And I would look around the room and say, who in the world wrote that? I certainly didn't. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody who did. And so, you know, the people who are just out there for clicks on their website and are just coming in there trying to spread gossip, they make everybody else look really bad. And I have a lot of sympathy for that view, and I'm sure it's true in every sport and even in news and politics and everything else.
Yeah, it kind of lumps everybody together. And
everybody people declare themselves a journalist because they've got a website.
Mm-hmm.
I have a website. No.
I know you do. Monty Dutton, it's a blog, right? MontyDutton.com. Yeah. And we advise everybody to go over there, read your NASCAR stuff and the other things on which you opine. I like that word, opine.
I actually have been opining about other things a lot more because I've got other gigs, Bleacher Report and the Competition Plus website, where it sort of fulfills my NASCAR quotient a little bit.
Very good. Well, you have a great weekend and watching as much as you can tomorrow, and we'll talk to you next Friday before the 600.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
Thank you, Monty. As always, the full Monty on NASCAR here on Sports Talk. And, yes, his blog is excellent. MontyDutton.com. You can read about NASCAR and other things from the big guy. Back in a moment. All right, Clemson gave up that run in the sixth, but the Tigers get it back in a hurry in the seventh inning. Let's see what they did. It's White reaching on an error by the catcher, Cox scoring. So that's how they get that run in, unearned run. Tigers go back up by 3, 4-1. And on the mound for the Tigers, let's see if Schmidt is still there. Yes, he's gone through 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run. He has struck out 4. Still pitching extremely well despite losing the perfect game there. Now we've got the high school games, the high school state championship games being played in baseball and softball. I've gotten word that Latta leads McBee 3-1. Let's see, that's after 1.5. Latta's up 3-1 after 1.5. Okay. Latta's just trying to get to the 4th inning because their ace pitcher, Kobe Lee, who's headed to USC unless he goes pro, he's got 3 innings left in his arm this week. So you get to the 4th. It's only 6 innings in high school ball, 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's the strategy, my friends. That's the strategy. Buford leading Dillon 2A softball, end of 5, 2-1. Now, after 2 innings, it's Latta 3, McBee 1. Oh, I need this win in the worst way so I can collect my money, my big bucks from Rick Henry. In the 2A championship baseball, Strom Thurmond 3, ain't or nothing, going to the bottom of the 3rd. All right, let's see if anybody else is tweeting anything else out there. That's all I see so far. Nothing from the 4A game. I'm assuming that game is ongoing. Of course, it's been very wet here in the Columbia area. I do see where Sawyer Bridges, a USC signee, is on the mound for Somerville against J.O. Mann. So I guess that game is going on, but I have not seen a tweet regarding a score yet. So keeping a watch out for that. All right. Told you about Clemson 4-1, leading at Notre Dame. Catch you up on some other baseball scores around the SEC, ACC, and the state. Tennessee beats Georgia 5-4. Kentucky beats Missouri 2-1. Florida and LSU scoreless in the second. That's all we got in the SEC thus far. USC, Alabama coming up at 8 o'clock. In the ACC, North Carolina leading NC State 3-0 in the 3rd. Duke 7-1 over Pittsburgh in the 6th. Louisville beat Wake Forest 9-2. Virginia beat Virginia Tech 7-6. Miami and Florida State, Boston College, and Georgia Tech rained out. Okay, let's check the scores around the state now. The Big South action. And Campbell leading Coastal Carolina 5-1. That's in the 4th. Presbyterian beat Charleston Southern 3-1. Winthrop and Gardner-Webb rained out. We also had USC Upstate rained out in its game scheduled for tonight against Jacksonville. Wofford and Furman rained out, postponed until tomorrow. And also in the Southern Conference tonight, games that are being played or have been played, East Tennessee beat the Citadel 10-9. So you're up to date on scores of interest to us. And in softball today, South Carolina, a 2-0 winner over South Florida in the Tallahassee Regional, and USC Upstate, a 5-3 winner over Oregon State in the Auburn Regional. And Upstate will play Auburn in the second round tomorrow. I also want to mention this couple things. The Dick Hauser semifinalists list came out today. USC right-hander Clark Schmidt, he's on the list, 9-2, 2.72 ERA. Coastal Carolina designated hitter G.K. Young is on the list, and he is among the top hitters in the country. He has 9 home runs in his last 20 games and 15 home runs total and a .339 batting average. Also on the list, Clemson freshman outfielder Seth Beer, .392 batting average, 15 home runs, .725 slugging percentage, .542 on-base percentage. He has reached base via a hit or walk in 50 consecutive games. Pretty doggone impressive. USC released its grade report today for the spring semester, and they did extremely well. 19th consecutive semester in which the athletes have a combined GPA of 3.0 or better. So they're doing a good job there in the classroom. Back to wrap it up in a moment. Three-run seventh for the Tigers. They're now up 6-1, cruising once again at Notre Dame. Roman with a 2-run single to center. So the Tigers are up 6-1, looking to be in very good shape to win this series, go up 2-0, go for the sweep tomorrow, and further solidify their spot in the top 6 in the ACC standings. So things are looking good there for the Tigers. Couple of recruiting notes to mention here late in the show. USC target offensive lineman TJ Moore of Charlotte offered today by Kansas State. USC today offered 2019 linebacker Quavaris Crouch of Charlotte, and USC offered defensive back Terrell Bailey of Marrero, Louisiana. So that brings you up to date on what we know there. A couple of emails and tweets to get to. This is from Country Boy, writing about Steve Spurrier Jr., I think because he's upset that Jr.'s recruiting the Smith kid from Union County. And he says, I'm going to say something that SOB Spurrier Jr. did a fine job destroying what little success USC obtained for a while, and now he's got the nerve to come into our state all the way from Oklahoma to recruit someone. Does he not have anyone to recruit west of the Mississippi River? If I had the proverbial rotten tomato, I'd throw it at him if I ever got within throwing distance. I really don't have any use for him. Okay. You loved him when you had him, for the most part. Now you're mad. He's just doing his job, man. He's just doing his job, which is to go out and recruit. And and try and find ball players wherever he can and using his contacts. That's what you do. You use your contacts. The new USC coaches are certainly going back into their familiar territory to try and find players. Let's see. Some mentions here on Twitter. Let's see what we have here. This is from 3 Dingo. He wishes Connor Mitch good luck, a fresh start. Vic, he wishes Connor the best. I hope he proves the HBC, Mangus, and Roper wrong. Reeves here asked on the poll question, what will Clemson average offensively this coming season? He said 3.5 points. Brian asks, any guesses on where Mitch might end up? I hear his girlfriend's from Boston, so maybe he's going to head up north. Who knows? Jimmy writes, everyone knew it was coming. Too many quarterbacks on the team. Someone had to go. Okay. What else do we have here? Teddy Hefner. Always enjoy listening to Sports Talk. A well-done professional production. Oh, shout out to Carson. Thank you, Teddy. And you're a well-done production yourself. Okay. Oh, here's one more. I'll agree with Cornblue. Those ACC Friday night games are garbage for that conference, and I'm an SEC guy. That was from Kurt. Very wise comment there, Kurt. Anytime you agree with me, you're taking the safe side. Okay. Thank you for being with us. Have yourselves a great sports weekend, and we will see you Monday. Thank you, Carson. Fabulous job. Good night. We'll see you Monday night here on Sports Talk.